I'm very happy to welcome again Troy Wilson. He's a repeat visitor with us. We hope he'll become a member of this organization just because he's been the speaker so many times he thinks he lives here. This is a return engagement from last year and the year before that, and at least the year or two before that. He's actually been in Kingsport about 4 years living here, but he's been working with the Domtar mill for even longer than that. Uh, Last year, he talked about the circular economy and recycling just as they were beginning to get the new mill up and running. So I'm sure there'll be updates on that as he goes through his program today. Troy has been in the paper business for 3 generations. He's a native of Bedford, Virginia. How many people know why Bedford, Virginia is a well-known place? Hold up your hand. Uh, for those of you who don't know, in World War II, a number of young men from Bedford, Virginia in the National Guard were called up at the same time, and they all wound up in the initial invasion of Normandy, and almost all of them were killed. Like maybe as many as a dozen of them.
Yeah, I think it's.
It just wiped
I think it's
out
23, maybe.
the
I
youth
can't
of that
know exactly.
community
Yeah.
at the time. So anyway, he's a second or third generation down the road from that, but he comes from a place that's well known in history. Troy has been in the paper business, I say, for 3 generations, and he's been working directly for almost 40 years in mills all over the South, in North Carolina, in Virginia, in Pennsylvania. He even went to Nebraska and worked in a paper mill out there, which I think is really remarkable because I didn't know you could make paper out of corn stalks. But apparently that was like those sheets that they make out of bamboo, same sort of situation. And anyway, uh, he's the mill manager here at Kingsport, and has shepherded the completion and the startup of probably the most modern mill in the United States. In fact, as I understand it, this mill is the last paper mill that was actually built from scratch before we converted it to recycling. Is that correct?
It was in North America.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Troy is the general manager of the mill here, and the mill is capable of producing about 600,000 tons of linerboard, which most of us call cardboard, but which is a much better product than that sounds like. And it's a very modern machine and a very up-to-date process. uh, as I've already said, he's worked in mills all over the East and in the Northeast and in the Midwest. So anyway, it's our pleasure to have him speak to us, bring us up to date on what's evolved with the Domtar paper mill here in Kingsport over the last year. And I look for you folks to give this young man, this potential member for the Kiwanis Club, a rousing Kiwanis welcome.
Today, I have lost track of how many times I've been here. I'm running out of things to talk about. But I'm going to change it up a little bit. I get into a conversation, and there is so much to talk about Domtar and the new mill, the conversion, that we run out of time. So I'm going to change things up a little bit today. I'm going to talk about a few things that I haven't talked about in the past, and I want to leave enough time for questions so that we can have an interactive meeting here today, and you guys can get your questions answered. But I think what I'll do is I'll start with a brief video, liven it up a little bit. So. I think I will. Anybody see my mouse?
For more than a century, Domtar's Mill in Kingsport, Tennessee, has been a central part of the regional business
Too
community.
loud?
This landmark has grown and adapted across decades and recently experienced significant transformation. A multi-year conversion project has now enabled the mill to become Domtar's first 100% recycled containerboard facility and home to the second largest recycled containerboard machine in North America.
This is Domtar's first entry into containerboard division. So over the course of the last several years, we've been converting uncoated free sheet machine into a containerboard machine. Now that the project is complete, we have the capability of making high performance liner, medium, and packaging grades.
The conversion has equipped the Kingsport mill to produce more than 600,000 tons of high-quality linerboard and corrugated medium annually. The bottom line, Domtar is at the forefront of a market poised for consistent long-term growth.
Domtar decided to enter the packaging market to build on our 175-year history as a fiber innovator. As you look at global home paper markets, the packaging market is as largest both globally and here in North America. It is continuing to see nice growth in the future, primarily due to sustainability and e-commerce trends.
It's a very large market in the United States, growing probably by about 2% a year, which means every year it needs 800,000 tons of new capacity just to keep the growth profile. We felt we had an interesting way to enter the market with recycled test liner coming out in Kingsport, and really positioning ourselves as the independent's friend and supporter rather than people who run the integrated model. So that's what we're proceeding to do.
A conversion of this magnitude is only possible with the collaboration of city, state, and regional leaders who understand that manufacturing is an essential economic driver.
We found the community and the local officials to be very helpful. So we thought that we'd have to be very thorough in how we explained what we wanted to do and how we wanted their help in dealing with our transition to our new business. And they were. And they asked a lot of questions, but they wanted to know mostly what they could do to help.
That kind of collaboration is one reason why Domtar continues to be a leading employer in Kingsport, attracting highly skilled people from across the region. In addition, Domtar is now the largest manufacturer of recycled products in Tennessee and a significant contributor to the circular economy. Going forward, the mill will collect and repurpose nearly 700,000 tons of old corrugated containers and other mixed paper, keeping these materials out of landfills and instead using them to make useful products. That's enough material to fill about 1.5 Empire State Buildings. The mill's location in the heart of the Southeast allows it to supply lightweight packaging grades to more than 70 independent corrugated box makers. So before long, the paper materials in your recycling bin may come back to you in the form of a box made with Domtar recycled container board.
When we looked at it, we also felt that from a capital standpoint, we could build a test liner mill for actually less money than it would cost us to build a fully integrated kraft liner mill and containerboard. So that's why we settled on Kingsport. In addition, great management, great story to tell, and we felt we could make a really compelling offering of lightweight test liner to independent converters. And as we sit here, we've got a fantastic customer base that we're only too excited to supply.
When you look at the assets that we have here, we have world-class assets. Most importantly, as you look at our people, we've got a tremendous group of people here, and they've demonstrated time and time again that they're up for new challenges, and they're so excited and energized to be entering into the packaging markets here at Kingsport. The city of Kingsport in the Tri-Cities area has been our home here for this mill for over 100 years, and we're so proud to be a part of this community.
Okay, so that pretty much that's a pretty good little clip we put together there. That it speaks to a lot of what we're doing, what's been happening in the last 3 or 4 years. This mill's been here for a long time, and we talked about some things today too. When we were talking, sitting around the table, we were just reminiscing, of the older years. Where you can see how long Kingsport's been here. The paper mill started back in 1916, right? It even started before Kingsport was established, right, or incorporated. So been here for a while, and then everyone here knows it for a long period of time as the Mead, right? Is anyone in here, did anyone here work at the paper mill when it was the Mead in this group? That started in 1920, and then through the years, change took place. So Kingsport, there was 5 paper machines here at one point in time. And through the years, those 5 paper machines, they lived their life or their purpose. And they were closed and shut down, and we tore the buildings down. But what's different about this mill is it's going to live a new life because we put $600 million into it to convert it to a brown board machine. And you can see that we've become very green from where we were years ago. Things have changed over time as well, and I'll speak to a little bit of that later too. But Willamette Industries was another company that was here for a short period of time. And then Weyerhaeuser come along and bought those out. We did a conversion there in 2002. We invested probably another $600 million. So if you think about it, in the last 20 years, we've invested over $1 billion right across the road here. Just where you can see from here, over $1 billion has been invested. So then Domtar acquires Weyerhaeuser in 2007, Kingsport Mill in 2016. We celebrated our centennial. And then along came COVID, and market was not good. Fine paper was what we were making here, and the electronic age has changed that quite a bit. So I always said this every day we came to work, there was one less sheet of paper to make. And the reason being is there's no one out there inventing ways to use more white copy paper. They're inventing ways to go more electronic. All of us have a phone sitting around us or attached to us right now. That really killed us. I read the newspaper this morning, and I hate to say it, but I read it electronically. That's killing our business. So we saw the need. We've been working on a project for a long period of time, but when COVID came along, we were down for market downtime because of slack orders. Wondering, of course, planning for the future. We kept the mill down for a little bit there, and then August of 2020, we made the announcement that we're going to make a conversion, and we're going to move in a different direction, because if we want this mill to survive and still be here for another 100 years, we're going to have to do something different. And that's what's so great about Domtar. You can see in 2023, we celebrated 175 years. So we're working on 176 years now. There's not a lot of companies out there that can say that they've been in business for 176 years. How do they stay in the business for 176 years? They do what we did across the road here. They find another way or another means to keep the company going, and that's what we've done here. So 2023, you can see some proud people there. That was, it was like 4:00 a.m. in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, we made the first reel, January 2023. So the employees, it says 220. When we started the mill up, we were at 172. Prior to starting the mill up, we were at 145. I increased the head count to 172 for startup. And since then, over the course of the last year and a half, we're up to 220 with plans to maybe add a few more down the road. So we're growing as a company and a great place to work too. So one paper machine, 600,000 tons a year is what we're designed to make. So just a little bit about speaking about becoming green. Everything we do, we think about, is there a way to do it differently than we've done in the past? Because we are a 100% recycle mill, right? And we are the largest recycler in the state of Tennessee. So we think that way now. So not only do we recycle cardboard, the bales that you saw, it takes 700,000 tons of recycle every year to make that 600,000 tons of paper. Now that's 700,000 tons of trash that was headed for the landfill that we brought into our facility and said, we'll make another product from that. So that's what we're doing. Not only are we recycling our the round board, we're also recycling water. Since 1916, we've been pulling water out of this river, and we've been putting water back in the river. Well, we're still doing that, but not to the magnitude that we've done in years past. When we were a fine paper mill, we were pulling 12 million gallons of water a day. We were putting 12 million gallons of water a day through our wastewater treatment plant back into the river. Today, we were at 2 million gallons. So we've reduced that by 10 million gallons. And how do we do that? We're bringing it back and using it over and over and over again. So the only water we're really replacing is water through evaporation and water that's in the product we have to replace. So we're doing a really good job in water conservation as well. We use fewer chemicals. There's not any chemistry in this process. In the old mill, there was a lot of chemistry. There was trucks coming in every day, rail cars coming in every day, bringing chemicals down to us. We don't do that anymore in this process. So it's a different process altogether. So the emissions have changed. Everything has been reduced. And then what's unique too about our process is being 100% recycled. There are contaminants in those bales that you can't make paper from. So what do you do with those? Most people take those contaminants to the landfill. The largest contaminant in these bales is plastic. So 50,000 tons a year of plastic comes through our plant that we can't make paper out of. That, in most mills, would take that to a landfill. We don't take it to a landfill. We have a biomass boiler. We incinerate that plastic. We turn that into new energy, and that fuels our turbine. And our turbine generates our electricity. We make a little over half of our own electricity with our turbine on site. And then we went to electric clamp trucks and doing a few other things like that. We recycled all the old buildings we tore down. We laid the foundation for the new building. We didn't take that to the landfill. And we're so conscious of that. But Eastern Tennessee, with us, Kingsport, and others, we've become a very green place to work, protecting of the environment, understanding the sensitivities of our community. You can stop me anywhere along the way, but I'll make sure we leave some time for questions. So this one, I like this slide. It's an old slide. I dug this one up. So some of these pictures are old, but I like this slide. So I was trying to show the impact that we have just from the financial piece of this. So Kingsport Mill creates 1,056 indirect jobs for this community. Estimated regional impact, $610 million per year. Now that number was larger, has been larger, has fluctuated. At one point in time during the project, we had 1,100 employees here. Those 1,100 employees, and see you shaking your head, Mr. Mayor, that really contributed to the economy here. And we did that for a couple of years. And now we're down to what our base is and what we're going to run the operation, but we're still contributing. And then I mentioned this, since 2002, 22 years ago, we have invested over $1 billion in this site here to keep this mill running. So here's what it looks like. Here's the bales. So it isn't just cardboard. There is types of cardboard that we have to run as a recipe to make the product we're making. What you see on the left here is number 12 and then number 11. That's our main diet. That's what we make, the brown board, the rolls you saw, majority of it comes from that. What's on the left is double sorted. It's a lot cleaner. 11 is a little bit, a little more plastics. DLK is the trimmings from box plants. That's the cleanest fiber you can get. There's no contaminants in it. It came directly back from box plant or what they trim, but it's the most expensive. That drives our cost up if we use that. And then this mixed waste, that's what's in your trash can, in your home, in your kitchen, under the sink. And that's the cheapest fiber, but it has less fiber content. It's not, from a quality standpoint and strength standpoint, it's not, you can't run all of that. So we put about 15% of that in our sheet just to reduce our cost to manufacture the paper. So these are what you see. So these trucks that are coming in, that's what's inside. That's what we're bringing to the mill. So here's something that I haven't talked about since I've been coming and presenting, but I do get a lot of questions. So Kingsport, this is the sourcing map. So you can see how far we go out. So Domtar's sourcing 67% of the fiber we bring in within 275 miles of this mill. And that's not all of it. We'll reach out further than that, but you can see where the main sources are coming from. You see we pull a lot out of North Carolina. We pull a lot out of Tennessee, Georgia, and as it goes down the line. But you can see we go out into West Virginia and other places. But this is where we pull our recycle from. But we don't pull anything from here. We don't have a way to pull it from here, you know. So the closest that we have is Asheville. We pull some stuff from Asheville, and then we have a great relationship with Food City. All of the Food City grocery stores. I forget now because they keep adding, but we're around 150, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood of 150 stores. They bring all of their cardboard, back to one spot, and that's in Abington, Virginia. And in Abington, Virginia, they bale it and they put it in a truck and they bring it to us. So all the grocery stores within Food City, it's coming to the site across the road here, and we're making another product out of it. So we're recycling from all those grocery stores. So that's a great partnership there. So this is the capacity, and what all this illustrates is there were a lot of mills. The ones in the red over here were brown board mills, but they shut them down. And whether they were high cost or whatever, but a lot of those were virgin mills. There were virgin mills. And this was a virgin mill at one point in time too, where they were just dealing with the wood, and they're making paper or they're making brown board out of wood. They've shut those down, and a lot of those have been replaced with recycled mills. These mills that you see here to the left, with Kingsport included in that, you see that we're larger than any of those, but these are recycled mills that have just recently come online to make brown board. And you can see the demand. People ask me all the time, it says, wow, are you going to run out of cardboard? No, we're not going to run out of cardboard. With so much opportunity out there to even do more than what we're doing today from a recycle standpoint, from a board standpoint. We can continue to just recycle and run this around in a circle for a long time, you know. So we do need the virgin mills out there too, as part of that as well. But you can see 2.7 million tons have come online here just recently. That's a lot of board. We're a 600,000 ton machine. We're the second largest in North America. We're soon going to be the largest in North America because we're not going to stand on being second. We're going to run around that number one, and that one is in Green Bay, Wisconsin, is where it's at. They're 675 and we're 600. So we're chasing them. So, and they know we're chasing them because I talk to those guys. So they just know they can feel the heat. So. And it's just another illustrator. This is broken down into regions and where the recycle comes from, and a lot of how it's priced out comes from different regions of the United States. But we primarily stay in that south and south central area, bringing in recycle. But you can see the yellow was when we came online. We increased the recycling 15%. So just think about that. If we hadn't come online and pulled 15% more recycle to our mill, that 15% of board would be going in the landfill. So we pulled that to us in these regions. Another question comes up all the time is around transportation, right? How does it get to the customer? Where are your customers? How far out do you go? So we're about 50-50 really. We ship half of what we're shipping on a daily basis by rail. The other half will go by truck. So you can see we have 30 carriers supporting the inbound and outbound deliveries. These 30 carriers are independents, or they're carriers around our immediate area that come in and haul for us. We do have a dedicated fleet, a company called Venture. 22 drivers on site, tractors, trailers, all that. You'll see all these. When you see all these trailers that you see sitting around, that's majority of that is theirs, and that's a dedicated fleet that comes into the scheme of how we move product in and out of the mill. What you'll see in those trailers they're either empty because we're going to put final product in them, or they have final product in them and they're waiting on a truck to come pick it up, or it's OCC. So a scenario could be a truck drives in, goes across the scale, goes over, drops his trailer of OCC, backs into a load of paper that's already been loaded for him, and he goes to the customer. That's a perfect world. Just keeps that rotation going. CSX, of course, provides our rail switch and our deliveries. We do about 8 rail cars a day, which is roughly 600 to 700 tons a day just through rail. Yes, sir.
What are the dimensions on those mill rolls? I mean, that's an big-time oversized trailer, right?
Yeah, so it varies. You can have you can go from a 30-inch. They're all 58-inch in diameter, but as far as width, they go from 30 inches up to 132 inches. So 132-inch you can't ship those by truck unless you ship them by Conestoga trailer and you lay them on the side. You ship 4 rolls at a time. In right around Chattanooga, Tennessee, actually Cleveland, Tennessee, there's only 4 of those corrugators in the world, largest corrugators in the world that process this paper are 132 inches. One of those in the world is in Cleveland, Tennessee, and we supply paper to them already. So we're feeding them paper on a daily basis to Cleveland, and they're going by rail. There's times when they want an order and they want it now because it'll take a week or 2 for a rail car to get there. We'll put it on a Conestoga trailer. If you don't know what those, they lay them on the bilge, the side, and they got the tarps that go over, and we'll run them down there that way. So you'll see those in our parking lot sitting out here. Got Domtar and all on the side of those trailers, but so yeah, it varies. So a 132-inch roll weighs about 12,000 pounds, one roll.
So the length of that roll is how much?
132 inches. Yeah, the width of the roll is 132 inches, and it'll have 60,000 square foot on it, linear feet of paper wrapped around a 4-inch core. So it is a large roll. And when you saw those reels of paper, what they were lifting with the crane, those reels weigh 75 tons. And this mill runs 24/7, 7 days a week. So every hour a 75-ton reel comes off that machine. Just think about that. That's being made from a recycled product that was going into the landfill, and that's 75 tons an hour is coming off that machine. So it takes a lot of trucks, it takes a lot of bales, a lot of furnish.
What is that core? You described it. Was it stainless core?
No, it's actually a fiber core. It's a fiber core Christmas paper, right? Christmas paper, wrapping paper is wrapped around the core. We wrap our product around the core, but it's much heavier than that. It's thick and heavy. I mean, it takes a chainsaw to cut it in two. So it's much heavier than that. So
just taking a piece of cardboard, you make the top and the bottom and make the middle that's swirly. And you send it to a company down in Chattanooga area, and they put all that together to make the corrugated cardboard.
that's correct. Yeah. So we go all over North America, but yeah, that's just one facility we go to. So yeah, that's a very good question. So to understand how a box is put together and the structure of a box is designed in a way to hold whatever product that you want to put in that box, right? You want a refrigerator, that's a different box than you put a diamond ring in, right? So 2 different boxes. So they're just constructed differently. So the outside of the box, the outside on each side of that corrugated piece is called liner. That's the liner. And that's different test properties are needed to make the strength of that. So it's a whole different recipe for that. And then the squiggly isn't squiggly when it leaves here. The corrugated piece, it's just a regular sheet of paper, just like the outside. When they run those 3 pieces of paper through a corrugator to combine the board together and make one board with the 3, the corrugation piece happens there. That's where the corrugation piece comes in. We're just making it in rolls. We're just giving them the raw stock, and then they convert it to a board. And it's called flutes. It's different size flutes for different boxes and different size walls and different strengths and all those properties. But we make a wide range of weights that meet our customers' needs. So it's not just one product. It's a number of products depending on what they're making a board for. Yes, sir.
There are some recycling centers still around, the ones on the heights where they got containers you just throw cardboard on.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't get that, where does that go? And second question, why don't you have your own recycle center for the people just drop their cardboard off once you're at your site?
Yeah. So 2 questions there. So we do have it for the employees there. We don't have it for the public to come in to our site and drop off a box here and there. Not saying we wouldn't go down that road one day. We just have to manage that. We'd have to manage that closely. But you do have some recycle. I've put mine in there too before we put our containers on site. And to be honest with you, I think I may be wrong on this, Mayor. I think when we pick those up, They were going to Knoxville, and we were bailing them there in West Rock, but it's a long ways to go to take them. So, but there are some things in the works, and it's probably another question. I'm not into the point where I could talk about any of that today because there's not enough detail in it. But we are working on trying to work in a direction where we can capture the board in this area, we can bale that board in this area, and we can bring it to the mill. Wouldn't that make? We're the largest recycler in the state of Tennessee, but yet we're not bringing any local board to the mill, right? So to your point, wow, that doesn't make any sense, does it? So that's a work in progress as well. So yes, sir.
You know why Tri-City Waste Paper went out of business?
I heard rumors. I'll just leave it as a rumor, but they are in Asheville, though. That's the same company that we pulled from Asheville. I think it was just they were having difficulty managing the site, so chose to pull out of it.
Do you have to pay for the cardboard for the city?
We do, yeah, yeah. So the cardboard prices. It's on the. It's called Reese. And Reese is a. It's kind of like they oversee the pricing of all of the raw materials, and we follow that. So it's like the stock market. They set the price. It goes up and down, fluctuates with the stock market, goes up and down the same way. So yeah, we pay for that. We pay for it by ton. Truck comes in with 20 tons, and each one of those that I was telling you, there's a different price for those different grades of recycle too. So it's not all priced the same. So then where the difference is in the transportation. So the transportation, you want to get it as close to the mill as you can, right? So that lowers your fiber cost. When you go out there to 350 miles, and you're paying for all that transportation. But we're only going 30 minutes to Abington to get all of that. And it comes every day. So it lowers our price too, which makes a good relationship. We're a win-win there. So they need to get rid of it. We're buying it from them, but we need it to make products. So
Talk about trying to keep product out of the landfill.
mm-hmm.
Is there any data or is there any way to know what percent of board you could use is still going in landfill versus being captured?
There is, and there is data out there. I don't have any of that today, but there is data out there, and it's easily, you can go online and grab that. It's it'll blow your mind. It's what's hitting the landfill right now. Cardboard is one of the largest of all the. I don't want to use the right word to use here, but of what's going in the landfill, cardboard is up there. Plastic is up there. So you can probably imagine it, but you can grab that. It's there. What you have to remember, it takes in order to run a mill this size, a container like that over there, if we would bring that to the mill and dump it in there, if you just blinked, it'd be gone. It wouldn't even make a tenth of a ton of paper. So it has to come in such a magnitude of coming to the mill. So when you do a recycling or a MRF facility, it really needs to incorporate the 500,000 people in the area in order to make that worth the effort. So there's people working on that. I'm speaking a little bit above my head right now on those sides of things because there are people who are looking at the same thing you're looking at. But so when you say that, it doesn't just mean Kingsport can do it alone. It means everybody has to do it. So you have to do the Bluff City. You have to do the Elizabethton. You have to do all these. Everybody has to contribute in order to give you the tons you need. And so, which means they're all different municipalities, right? They're all different recycle trucks, recycle facilities. So it's not as easy as just say, go throw it in a dumpster and we'll bring it to your mill. It's a little more to that. So,
what apparatus do you use to separate the plastic and paper?
Okay, so we have a plant called an OCC plant, Old Corrugated Container Plant. So a bale comes in the bale form, and it goes up this long conveyor, and then it falls in this pulper. It's like a blender. Falls into the blender, water goes in that, makes a big slurry out of it, and now you have a slurry just like in a blender. Now all those contaminants that are in there, they all go through this recycle plant, and in the recycle plant there are pieces of equipment that are designed to take a specific piece or a contaminant out of the stock flow. For example, there's boxes with staples, right? there's a box with a staple in it. So how does a staple get out? Well, there's a piece of equipment when it gets there. This piece of equipment says, "Oh, that's mine." I grab that staple and I throw it out. It's how it works. It's like a big washing machine. So there's pulping that I'm talking about. There's screening and cleaning, and then there's thickening. And it goes through all these processes. Think about the glue that's in a box, or the wax that's in a box because it's a produce box, or the tape that's on a box. So how does that get out of the system? There's a piece of equipment out there that knows that that's their role. When it gets there, it's like glue. Oh, that glue, that's mine. I got to get the glue out, and it goes out that stream. So each piece of equipment is designed, sand, rocks, whatever you can think that you could find in waste. There's the equipment will take it out and it'll bring it back to pure fiber again. So then that's when we'll put it in a big storage tank, bring it to the machine, and then make paper out of it. You know, another note on that: there is a lot of glues and waxes that come out of the box, and we call that sludge. And there's short fibers that make it through the system too that are rejected. We call that sludge. So what do we do with that? We actually incinerate that too instead of sending that to the landfill. So the glues and the waxes and all that, we keep that too, and we make energy from that as well. So we're recycling that too. We could just send that to the landfill too, but we have a way to dispose of it on site. That never, once it enters our mill, it never leaves again, even if we can't make paper out of it. So. Yes.
So your comments lead to my question. So what about pizza boxes? Do we put them in the recycle or do we put them in trash?
Oh no, yeah, that's good fiber. Yeah.
Okay, so pizza boxes is one. What about boxes that are kind of mildewy? Is that a problem?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. What else?
Nope.
There was something. Oh, yeah. You talked about the wax boxes. Like, so what about milk cartons?
We take it.
All right, this is good news.
What's going on at the Ridgefields area?
Yeah, so in the old mill, I call it the old mill. That used to be a sheeter plant for the old mill. Yeah. We took all the equipment out of that, and that's now a storage warehouse for us. So we store OCC over there. Of course, we play the game too, right? If it's at a low price and we can get a bunch of it, and then we have a place to go, then we're trying to run our mill as efficient and cost effective as possible. We may put some tons over there.
When you talk about 220 workforce, were you including any of those transportation folks, or some of them?
That's just Domtar employees.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're hiring. There are people or contractors that we hire that work with us all the time too that are on site. That's not included in that number, but they contribute to the community though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's support numbers. That's supporting the community as well.
Sullivan County has several places in the city where they collect cardboard. And that's, this question is probably not for you, but for them, what do they do with that cardboard? What do they do with it?
Yeah.
They take it down to Knoxville.
Yeah, take it down to Knoxville.
What Troy talked about was a material recycling facility, a MRF. And this is something that guys like Steve Byer are working on, is trying to track some private company that does MRFs to our area. You know, and our area is roughly, it's called the 8-county region, over 500,000 people. It's all a matter of economics. It's got to be something that's profitable to that organization. So it's not an easy, nut to crack.
Yes, sir.
If I may ask, what does Domtar have educational tools for schools, for churches, for businesses? I think we've seen recycling education increase in our lifetime. Are there tools that I can take into the church right now and begin to teach greater stewardship?
Well, yeah, we have. I don't know about tools, but we have presentations and literature. We have people that would come talk to your group if you wanted to. We love to talk about recycling. We can educate you, because this is almost like an education here today, right? That seems like we're going through an education of what's going on across the road, and it's all about recycling, right? And so, yeah, I don't. We get asked quite often to come present and talk about recycling and help us spread the word, help us understand. We just, what can we recycle? What we can't recycle? You think about if we had boxes that were coming from there were meat boxes, right? There's blood in those boxes, right? There's contaminants that come from all different sorts of boxes. Rotten bananas. I'll be standing out here sometimes and say, that sounds like banana boxes. That's got to have banana. That had bananas in it at one point in time. So it's all forms of boxes.
But send them your way.
Yeah.
How many mills does Domtar have in North America? Secondly, when you decided to come to Kingsport, right, must have been some other places.
It was, yeah.
What sold you on the
Well, we talked about it a little bit here. So this is Domtar's first entry into the packaging division, right? We've been a fine paper mill for the majority of our life, but we wanted to change directions because I just spoke to why we wanted to do that. But so what weighed into that is the asset for one, the location for another. But this is a great asset here, and it's a great workforce here. We were actually looking and had spent a lot of money in another location, and we were going there. But the more we dug into it, the more we went into it, the more we worked with consultants. The consultants said you need to come to Kingsport. If you're going to this is your first entry, and you're trying to make a splash, and you want to do it the right way, you need to walk away from that project and come to Kingsport and do it here first. And it's a great assets. It's a great workforce. It's a great community, easy to hire. I mean, I can go on and on and on, why we did it, but that's why we chose Kingsport. No, but we pitched that to him, so he says, well, I'll help you make that happen.
Before you finish up, can you kind of talk a little bit about the odor?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As we finish up.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of conversation around odor within the community. So it's a different process than we were in the fine paper. So a lot of this is our learnings as well. But we were down for 3 years. So everything went dormant and everything stopped. So we have a 27-acre lagoon over there too that we're bringing back in control. We had pages and pages of contingencies to make sure that we didn't impact the community from a sensitivity standpoint. Yes, sir. How much longer are we going to keep Charlie Floyd around? Is that what the question was? Yeah. Yeah. How much? I don't understand the question. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So he's got to be successful.
Oh, he's successful, yeah. I think you got to worry about that part. Yeah. Let me finish the odor thing here. Yeah, let me finish the odor thing here real quick first, because I'm glad you brought it up, because I was going to bring it up if you did. So we're working aggressively. I know that the sensitivity in the community is concerned with the odor that this new product is generating. Nobody loses more sleep over it at night than me, because I know that. Because it's not just the odor. We're in downtown Kingsport. There's more sensitivities than the odor. There's the noise. There's the traffic. There's the trying to look like we should fit in downtown Kingsport from a beautification standpoint. It's all those things that are sensitivities within the community too. But the one that's at the top of everybody's list right now is, what are you going to do about the odor? We're doing quite a bit about the odor right now. We're running different programs. We're hiring consultants. We've already had the consultants here. And for short term, we're spending a lot of money to get it to where it is today. Now, what you see today is you will still get it. The odor hasn't gone away. I have raised my hand and said we are generating odor in the community, and I'm not denying that. But we're running a program right now that's costing us about $350,000 a month just to keep it where it's at. And why are we doing that? Because the sensitivities of the community. We have to earn the right to be here, and you guys give us the right to be here. And if we lose that right to be here, that's not good. So I understand all that. So we can't live this way very long. We can't continue to put $350,000 a month in that wastewater treatment plant over there. So there's long-term solutions coming fast. And I met with corporate yesterday, and we made a huge stride in the right direction yesterday. I can't go any further than that, but we made a big leap in getting in the right direction. So there's going to have to be some more investment in this community to make it go away. It's not going to go away in the short term, to be honest with you. If it would, I would have already done that, you know. I would have already done that. So it's just a different process. Typically, when you think about this, we track every complaint, and we have asked for people to give us your feedback. We've got a microsite out there now that you can go and speak to, and we track. So here's what I know through all the tracking right now, too, of all the people that are calling in. The furthest out that this goes is 1.7 miles. If you live in that 1.7 miles to the west, you're in that zone. As you go to the east, it goes about 1,000 yards. It goes into downtown Kingsport. Why does it go that direction? Maybe it's the river currents, maybe it's the Bays Mountain, maybe it's the corridor, maybe it's the draft that takes it that way. But it goes out 1.7 miles. Now, when you build a paper mill, you typically build it on a river because you need water. And you build it in a wastebasket because you need the raw materials for wood. But you never built it in the city. You build it out somewhere. We're in the city. We actually built a ball field that's connected to a wastewater treatment plant. So it's really a struggle, but we're going to get there. It's not going to happen with the way we're doing it now, because you're still going to smell it. It's going to be far and few between, and it's going to be short-lived. Okay, and the longer-term fix is a capital project. But you can't just call up someone and say, I want one of those. Can you have it here tomorrow? It don't work that way. I wished it would, but it doesn't. So I encourage you, if you're having those issues, or you're smelling it, or you need to give us feedback, we've got a microsite here. I encourage you to call. We answer every one of those calls personally. We actually try to go out if we can and go to the site to where they're having the smell. The problem is usually when we get there, it's gone. It's very hard. I got up at 5:30. I was in downtown Kingsport at 5:15 last week, walking the streets of Kingsport. And why would I be doing that? Because we had a complaint from a resident for 2 mornings in a row that said when she walked her dog, she could smell something. So I'm there at 5:15 in the morning walking the streets. Nobody else was out there, I'll tell you. But anyway, there's a lot in progress right now, and that's why you'll see it far and few between, and short-lived. But it's not going to go away till we put something else in place.
I was wondering, before Charlie Floyd left, started looking for the next step because he didn't have copy paper. At that time, they were looking at pulp for adult diapers because they saw that as a growing market. Is anybody doing that?
We have 2 mills that are doing that. Yeah, we have 2. I was involved in one of those conversions in Ashdown, Arkansas. Took one of our largest machines that we have in the business, and we converted to a market pulp and fluff pulp. Market pulp is you make something else out of the pulp. Fluff pulp is you make the hygiene products from it. So there's one there, and then we built one in Plymouth, North Carolina.
Let me say something about the odor thing. The city and Domtar have had extensive conversations